Hi, and welcome to this AI and C# video on the Microsoft Agent Framework. Today is not about learning new features of the framework, but more seeing a live use case example. I will add a few of these throughout the series, where we see what how it's used in real life code. And in this case, we are going to enhance some Slack support data with AI. And I'm going to do it in slides because this is company data, so I don't want to expose anything confidential. So that's the reason why it's in slides and not in a live Visual Studio. But the scenario is I help a company who uses Slack as their support tool, primary support tool. So we need to take Slack, which is a fairly dumb system. It just have the text. It can't really have metadata and stuff, and we want to enhance that data into a small dispatch tool that we have. So we enhanced the Slack messages and the replies with some summaries, some translations, some categorization, and a suggested answer. And all that data we store in a SQL Server. So in the system we have a webhook. This has nothing to do with AI as such, but we just have the Slack webhooks. So whenever a new message or something happens in Slack, it goes into this process events, give us a body of the text. And if that body is a message or reply, we add the message to our SQL Server. And then we start up a little queue that says it should apply AI to the message. And the reason why it's in a queue is because a webhook normally don't like to be that you spend a lot of time. So we couldn't really wait for AI to respond back in the various things we want here. So we spin it up in a queue with something called Coravel in my case, but you can use whatever. And then we apply some AI. And the AI is happening in two steps. The first one is the simple stuff. So in general, we are asking AI two things. So the first thing is we're gonna go in and choose what model we have, and so that's just configuration I have behind the scenes. But in order to get an agent just like we have seen in any of the other videos. So I get a chat client agent, and I give it some instructions here that it's an expert in translating and summarizing support messages. And it's given a text, and it needs to determine if it's non-English and then translate it. So if a message comes in a non-English language, it can be translated so all people who know English can help with answering the support. So next up, it gets some areas, various areas of support tags that we have. So it should try to say, is this in this area of support cases, or is it in this area of support cases, and so on. And it also needs to try to figure out, why did the customer ask us? Is it because they didn't read the documentation? Is it because documentation is missing? Is it because, yeah, whatever. And finally, it needs to summarize the text without trying to answer. And I do that using an agent with a normal run async, and I'm using structured output. So we can see the structured output down here, where we say we want a summary. We want it in maximum 250 characters, always in English, and only summarization. It should never try to answer the question. And don't use specific phrases and stuff like that, so just waste space on that. It's just summarization of the content and nothing more. Then we want the English translation, and we want it to leave it blank if it's already English. We want what support areas was on this support case and what reasons there was on this support case. So just giving our response back, and of course saving that down into the SQL Server. Next up, we take the slightly harder thing of trying to give an answer back. Not that it sends the answer, but it just suggested to the support representative what it thinks is done. So we have this prompt, which is a bit bigger and also configurable in the system. So we are saying, here's the user's question, and this question here will be replaced by the real question. And it gets its purpose here, that it's an internal AI assistant, and various different things on how it should answer, with max 75 words, don't use superfluous words, prefer markdown points, and so on. So it's a quick and easy thing for a support representative to look at and gain the knowledge that the AI can provide. Then it's have a description of the company, and then it gives docs context, similar message context, and external knowledge base context. And these three are actually down here, and what they're doing is that it's going down and doing function calling. So, or not function calling in this case, but it's actually going down and doing a vector store search against all the documentation we have. So tell the question and give us back what documentation fits the most. Tell us, based on the question, what other previous messages fit the most, and go into a knowledge base and figure out what fits the question most as well, and give that all to the AI. So these three are replaced by that. And once we have that, we simply just say get agent and then run async with the prompt, getting the answer back and saving that into our database so we can present it to the support representative. So that's a fairly simple example of what you can use AI for in case of a support case, where you can summarize, translate, categorize, and suggest some answers either directly to the customer or to the support representative in order for them to be helped with very little code. So that was everything. See you in the next one.